Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a topic that's really central for anyone who's been through school, this powerful link between, conscientiousness and education.
Hmm.
We've got this really insightful review article from the Educational Psychology Review that kind of unpacks why this connection is so important.
Yeah, it really gets into the weeds.
And our mission basically is to pull out the most valuable bits for you, give you the shortcut.
Exactly. So in this deep dive, we're going to look at how researchers in education actually define conscientiousness, how they try to measure it,
Hmm.
the, pretty significant impact it has on how students do, and also this surprising question. Can you actually have too much of it?
Interesting.
And then how it connects to other big ideas in education, whether it's something fixed or if it can change.
Right.
And importantly, the challenges of looking at this stuff across different cultures.
Hmm.
So yeah, like you said, a shortcut to the core findings.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. The review kicks off asking, essentially, why does being conscientious even matter for education? It feels obvious, maybe.
It does feel intuitive, yeah.
But the article digs into the different ways research actually thinks about this trait. It's got to be more than just like being generally responsible.
Oh, definitely. What's interesting is how it's often broken down.
Yeah.
Within educational research, they look at different facets, like being organized.
Okay.
Research shows that helps with studying efficiently, keeping track of materials, structuring learning,
Mm,
the drill.
right. Makes sense.
Then there's diligence, just that steady, consistent effort on schoolwork.
Uh-huh.
Self-control is another big one, staying focused, resisting distractions.
Mhm.
Very important these days.
Tell me about it.
And finally, achievement orientation, that drive to succeed to meet those academic goals.
Mhm.
So it's kind of this collection of related qualities.
Gotcha. A bundle of traits, sort of. So how do researchers actually measure something like that? I mean, it's not like you can just stick a thermometer in someone's ear for conscientiousness, is it?
Ha, no, not quite. That's a really key point. The review covers assessment. There are a few main ways.
Okay.
One common method is self-report questionnaires. Students rate themselves on statements like, I am always prepared for class.
Right, I've seen those.
They're convenient, definitely. But researchers have to be aware of potential biases, right? Like social desirability bias students might kind of paint a rosier picture of
They're
themselves.
wanting to look good.
Exactly. Then you've got observer reports, maybe teachers or parents rate the student's conscientiousness.
Getting an outside view.
Yeah. And sometimes researchers look at what they call behavioral indicators, actual actions.
Behavioral indicators, like always handing homework in on time, keeping notes neat,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Precisely. Stuff like that. It gives a more concrete look at how a student actually tackles their responsibilities. The review stresses that, different methods might capture slightly different parts of conscientiousness.
Okay, right. So different tools for different angles.
Oh, got it.
So we have a clearer idea of what it is in this context and how it's measured. Now, the big question, what's the actual link between being conscientious and, well, doing well in school? My gut feeling says it's a pretty strong connection.
Your gut feeling is spot on, according to the review. The evidence points to a really significant positive relationship between conscientiousness and a whole range of educational outcomes.
Okay.
And if you think about it, it makes logical sense, doesn't it? Students who are more organized, more diligent, they're just better set up to study effectively, get work done, push through when things get tough.
Yeah, absolutely. So what specific outcomes are we talking about? Is it just about getting better marks on tests?
It goes beyond just grades, actually. Research links conscientiousness to better attendance, for one.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Conscientious students are just less likely to skip class. It also predicts higher scores on standardized tests, yeah, but also things like completing homework assignments more reliably
Uh-huh.
and even showing greater persistence, like sticking with academic goals over the long haul.
That makes total sense.
They're-
Someone who's driven, feels responsible, they're going to put in the work across the board. Now, the review brings up something I found really intriguing. Can a student actually be too conscientious? That almost sounds contradictory.
It does, right. But this is where it gets kind of nuanced and really interesting. The review explores this.
Yeah.
And while conscientiousness is generally a huge plus,
Yeah.
the research suggests that extremely high levels might actually have some downsides in certain situations.
Downsides, really,
Yeah.
like what they get so wrapped up in doing everything perfectly that it actually trips them up.
That's exactly the kind of thing. The review points towards a potential link between excessive conscientiousness and, well, perfectionism.
Ah, okay. I can see that.
And while wanting high standards is good, that really extreme perfectionism can slide into anxiety, burnout, a fear of failing,
Hmm.
which can actually get in the way of learning and performing well.
Hmm.
Some studies suggest students who are off the charts conscientious might spend way too much time on one single task, you know, leading to problems managing their time, more stress, and not necessarily getting proportionally better results for all that extra effort. It's a tricky balance.
Wow. That's a really important point. It's not just about more is always better. Okay, so the review also looks at how conscientiousness connects with other important concepts in education. What are some of those related ideas?
Right, so it doesn't exist in a vacuum. Thinking about the bigger picture, it overlaps significantly with self-regulation.
Self-regulation, like managing your own learning.
Exactly. Conscientious students are often much better at planning their learning, keeping track of how they're doing, using effective study strategies. Those are all core parts of self-regulated learning.
Ah, okay. So it's like conscientiousness gives you the why, the drive and responsibility, and self-regulation is the how, the toolkit for managing it all effectively.
That's a pretty good way to put it, yeah. So if a student is good at, say, the planning part of self-regulation, their underlying conscientiousness, especially maybe the organized bit, probably fuels the motivation and provides the structure to actually make and follow those plans.
Gotcha.
The review also connects it to developing good study habits, obviously, a stronger sense of responsibility for their own learning, and just higher motivation generally to achieve academically. They all kind of feed into each other.
Right, like a positive feedback loop. Conscientiousness fuels good habits and motivation, which leads to more success, which probably reinforces the conscientiousness.
Precisely.
Okay, so here's a question I bet a lot of people listening, parents, educators, maybe are thinking. Can you actually change how conscientious someone is, especially in a school setting? Or are you just kind of stuck with what you've got?
That's a great question. And the review tackles the changeability aspect directly. This is super relevant for education, obviously.
Yeah.
And the research suggests that while personality traits like conscientiousness do have a certain amount of stability over time, they aren't completely set in stone,
Yeah.
especially during adolescence and young adulthood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those are key periods for development,
Yeah.
including educational development. So there seems to be some malleability there.
Okay, that's actually quite encouraging, especially for maybe those of us who weren't always the most organized students back in the day. So what sorts of things can influence these changes?
Well, things like significant life experiences, taking on new roles and responsibilities, even just making a conscious effort to change your own behavior patterns can lead to shifts over time. And importantly for education, the review mentions that interventions programs designed to help students develop better self-regulation skills, learn effective goal setting, foster that sense of responsibility. Those could potentially help boost conscientiousness. It's an active area of research trying to figure out what works best.
That's really valuable. It suggests we're not just, defined forever by where we start on that spectrum. Okay, so the final piece the review covers is culture. This seems incredibly important, especially now. How does conscientiousness look? How does it play out in schools across different cultures?
This is a crucial point, yeah.
Hmm.
The review really finishes by highlighting how complex it is to assess and understand conscientiousness when you look across different cultural backgrounds.
Right.
And what's fascinating is that the way conscientiousness is expressed, how it's valued, maybe even how it's defined, that can vary quite a bit depending on cultural norms and expectations.
So something that screams conscientious student in one culture might look totally different or maybe even be misunderstood somewhere else.
It's exactly that. The review points to research suggesting even the fine details, the nuances within personality traits, can differ culturally. For example, there's work looking at how certain traits might be emphasized differently based on historical or social factors in different places. Plus, studies on response styles.
Response styles.
Yeah, like how people answer questionnaires. Some research shows individuals from certain cultures might tend to use the extreme ends of a rating scale, more often strongly agree, strongly disagree,
Okay.
while others might stick more to the middle options. And that tendency alone can mess with how conscientiousness scores look when you use those self-report tools across groups.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that could definitely skew comparisons if you're not careful trying to measure levels across different countries or cultures.
Absolutely. And the review also brings in broader research on personality across cultures. It highlights that while some core personality factors seem pretty universal,
All right.
how they actually show up and how well our measurement tools capture them across cultures can be really tricky. There's even research suggesting that those common national stereotypes about personality, people from X are like
Yeah,
Y,
yeah.
those often don't actually line up with the average measured personality traits of people in those cultures.
So we really need to be cautious about making big, sweeping statements about conscientiousness and the school success that apply everywhere, no questions asked. How we define it, measure it, even how much it influences learning, all could be shaped quite a bit by the cultural context.
Precisely. The review really hammers home the need for culturally sensitive approaches. When we're researching this, when we're trying to understand how conscientiousness works in education globally, we have to keep that cultural lens front and center.
Well, this has genuinely been a deep dive, hasn't it? Into this really complex relationship between being conscientious and education.
It really has.
We've seen it's this multifaceted thing with a really strong link to doing well academically. But like you said, it's not simple. There's that intriguing idea of maybe being too conscientious.
Right. The business
Potential
change.
downsides, how it
You know,
connects with other key ideas like self-regulation, the hopeful bit about it potentially being changeable, and finishing with that really crucial layer of cultural context.
yeah, definitely. And thinking about the implications, getting a better handle on these nuances, that's just incredibly useful for educators, for parents, really for anyone who wants to help create learning environments that work well and fairly for all students.
So for you listening, here's maybe a final thought to chew on. Think about the educational settings you know best. Your own experience, maybe your kids' schools. How might the unspoken cultural norms, the expectations in those specific places, shape how conscientiousness is actually expressed and how it's perceived? By students, by teachers?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely something worth pondering. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.